Welcome all. I'm Ruddy Rutledge, and he's Arthur. We are eventually, one day very soon, going to dig deep into the New Orleans Saints on this show. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment, but this week we've got a Deep South college football rivalry to get to, so let's get to it. LSU versus Ole Miss. The Tigers and Rebels kick it off for the 114th time Saturday afternoon in Oxford, Mississippi. We're going to preview the game in just a bit, and then something fun for LSU fans after that. But first, right now, I want to properly introduce the LSU-Ole Miss rivalry. A lot of lore goes with this series. Billy Cannon's Halloween punt return, Archie Manning and his rivalry with LSU, Burt Jones' game-winning pass in 1972, Eli Manning tripping on his bottom lip in 2003. That's what my notes say. It is without a doubt a rivalry, a huge rivalry, a long-standing one. But let's be honest, can we? Only one of these two programs has been called a runt on national TV by an ESPN analyst, who's now an SEC athletic director. But no matter your feelings on the Rebels, gotta at least respect their most recent resurgence under Lane Kiffin. And hey, after this past offseason, Ole Miss fans can now say one of their own fans became the first whore in space. Making history, right? Who's ready for some football? Lane Kiffin has been very much on brand recently, just a bitching about this and that, mainly Ole Miss's lack of night games at home. You should tweet about it more, Lane. If you make enough posts, maybe they'll change the start time. Use 2 phones. Of course, Lane has several things he can tweet about these next few weeks, if he so chooses, and he can think on it for weeks in advance. But night game or not, it's still going to be a tough environment in Oxford for LSU on Saturday, even at 2:30. And I do believe Kiffin wants this game badly. LSU stole Ole Miss's cookie last year when they came into Baton Rouge highly ranked with playoff expectations. And so now Lane the Pain is going to try to turn the tables on Flying Brian Kelly and the 4th-ranked Tigers. The 2025 Rebels, though, do not have the talent they've had the past few years on either side of the ball, but especially not in the trenches. But they have some speed at the skill positions and a very good, if not great, play caller for a head coach. And yes, they still play with tempo. The Rebels are strong at wide receiver. Penn State transfer Harrison Wallace is the deep threat, averages 21 yards a catch. And Tiger fans may remember Caden Lee, who can be a real problem in the slot. At quarterback, Ole Miss is going with Trinidad Chambliss, who's had the very, very hot hand for them recently. Twitchy athlete, just ran for over 100 yards on Tulane. And on the other side for LSU, this secondary is, to me, the most impressive part of this Tiger defense. Cornerback Mansour Delane is locked down, but the DBs as a group are instinctive and they're confident enough to try to bait Chambliss into making some bad decisions. But most eyes are going to be on the big chess match between Kiffin and LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker. It's going to be ongoing, back and forth all game long between these two. But Kiffin knows he's on the short end of the stick talent-wise this year, and he's going to be digging deep into that playbook, trying everything he can to make those LSU safeties bite. Complex routes, pump fakes, the kitchen sink, and the dishes and the towels. Because that's his big deal, throwing up his arms for a touchdown before the quarterback even throws the damn ball, because the safeties have bitten and somebody's wide open. I think you'll see 3 safeties from LSU at times, with Deshaun Spears coming in. He's pretty good for a third safety, as old DJ Lagway and the Gators know good and damn well. But Baker versus Kiffin should be fun to watch. In In addition to that chess match, we also get to watch Joe Sloan and Pete Golding play Chinese checkers. Or is it Hungry Hippos? Ole Miss on defense is not good. They rank 13th in the SEC in total D, also bottom half of the league in scoring D. Which brings us to the LSU offense. It all starts up front. And I don't know what for certain, to say about this LSU offensive line heading into this game. I do know these guys were highly recruited players. I also know they are impressive looking physically. They don't appear to be a bunch of soft, dumpy lard asses getting off the bus. Quite the opposite. I also know Brian Kelly has told us they would be a work in progress, but that they would be, direct quote here, a good group. This going to be a good group. Well, Brian, maybe they are a work in progress, but since you don't get to crucify me at a press conference, I don't have any problem pointing out that it is still a difficult, grinding process for this group to churn out yards on the ground between the tackles. No matter who they're playing, 4 games in, a third of the way through. It was better this past game. Subpar competition, but maybe they turned a corner. Juwan Johnson at running back could be the start of something. He can clearly make people miss, which is a big plus with this O-line. Fortunately for LSU, it looks like the Nuss bus is finally getting revved up, heading into Oxford. Garrett Nussmeier's coming off his best game of the season by far against Southeastern. His passes had more zip on them. He was accurate. He looked confident, and it couldn't have come at a better time. So, prediction time. This LSU defense is going to travel. It is a legitimate national championship caliber defense. And Blake Baker's group is going to prove that again on Saturday. This group has too much talent, and they're too well coached to just take a week off. But keep this in mind. Ole Miss will score points. More points than anyone else has on LSU so far. Know that going in. But I can see Kiffin getting too greedy, passing up makeable field goals maybe, going for it too much on 4th down, and coming up with nothing but Harold Perkins. Nuss keeps his hot hand, makes some big throws downfield, and the Andersons, both of them, hold on to the ball this week. And maybe we see similar play calling from Sloan to the second half of the Clemson game. More misdirection in the running game, maybe, against this very average-looking Ole Miss defense. I got LSU 31, Ole Miss 20. This LSU-Ole Miss rivalry has produced some epic games, classics that went down in history, and we've mentioned some of those. The Cannon Run, the Jones Pass, Eli's Trip and Fall. There were thrillers during the Miles and Orgeron eras. But all that is not what we're here for in this segment. This is not about those mundane, ho-hum nail-biters. Nuh-uh. We've all seen those movies and their sequels and prequels and reboots. Today, I would like to offer LSU fans, balls and ballettes of all ages, a unique perspective on this rivalry. And to any morbidly curious Ole Miss fans, y'all are free to make your own list. So here, ranked 5 through 1, are the top 5 times the LSU Tigers bullied the Runts and beat the hell out of the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 5, 1901. LSU 46, Ole Miss nothing. As you might expect, not a lot is known about this game other than 2 things. Number 1, it was played at State Field in downtown Baton Rouge, where the Capitol building is now. And number 2, the Ole Miss students did not attend the game. No, they partied in Baton Rouge, got back on their train, headed back to their little grove, and pretended as though they didn't get their asses beat 6 ways from Tuesday. And so it began, the Ole Miss Rebel student body's lasting tradition of not attending Ole Miss Rebel football games, a tradition that they would grow and cultivate for another 120 years. Till Kiffin called him out on it. Number 4, 2018, just 117 years later, LSU 45, Ole Miss 16. Now, a lot of LSU fans might remember the 58-point bomb Joey Burrow and the Tigers dropped on Oxford in 2019. But Joe and friends first took the Rebs to the cleaners the year before in Baton Rouge. Burrow racked up over 400 yards of offense in Death Valley that night and followed that up a year later with 500 more the next year in Oxford. 101 LSU points scored in those 2 games. So pretty much nothing associated with Ole Miss football was spared by the unmerciful Joe Burrow. Not the red pants, not the chandeliers in the tents, not the finger sandwiches, and definitely not the cold-ass chicken tenders. Number 3 from 2005, LSU 40, Ole Miss 7. This particular beatdown is interesting all these years later, not because Les Miles, grass-eating genius, and his Tigers displayed a want for victory, but because of who Miles' opposing coach was, the losing coach. Now, internet rumors suggested this coach ripped off his sissy blue shirt, gargled rocks, and punched out his own teeth in the Ole Miss locker room. But after the game, that Ole Miss coach made his way to midfield to politely congratulate the Mad Hatter like a gentleman before taking his job 11 years later. Welcome back, Arthur. Just in time for the top 2. Number 2's from 1970, LSU 61, Ole Miss 17. The most prolific stud horse in football history, that would be Archie Manning. Think about it. Got the better of the Tigers in 68 and 69, 2 straight 3-point wins. And LSU finally got to Archie in this one, though, one of the most well-known beatdowns in Tiger Stadium history. But it wasn't all bad for Ole Miss, because, see, after that game, according to an old farmer's almanac, Mississippians would soon after finally discover the benefits of a little life hack known as soap and water. But then again, the state of Mississippi still has to deal with the fact that to this day, they continue to lead the nation per capita in people who stutter. I love Mississippi. You know I was born there, right? Number 1, 2011, LSU 52, Ole Miss 3. How could anything other than this one be won? LSU cornerback Ron Brooks intercepted a pass 28 seconds into this game and raced down the sidelines for a pick 6 while yelling out, "The Grove is mid," at the Ole Miss student section. All dozen of them that made it into the game. And this one finally ended a little bit after, 5 minutes after, third-string quarterback Zach Mettenberger famously took a knee, a mercy knee. Joe would have had none of that. Inside the Ole Miss 5 with 5 minutes remaining in the game. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. For Arthur, the party dog, I'm Ruddy Rutledge. And to any Ole Miss fans, thank you for watching. You can go to hell after you like and subscribe.